Today, we're talking about an ingredient that doesn't show up on any order sheet, isn't stocked in the walk-in, and definitely isn't delivered by Cisco or Gordon Food Service. We're talking about sleep and learning. Welcome to the Edible Valley Podcast.
We want to invite you as we embark on a culinary journey through the heart of Vancouver Island.
From the fertile fields
to the pristine waters of the Pacific Ocean.
We'll explore the stories behind the food that nourishes us.
Tune in to each episode as we deep dive into the flavors, the traditions, and the innovations that make this a true paradise.
Now please join us as we explore our edible valley. Welcome back to another episode of the Edible Valley Podcast. I'm chef and host Jonathan Fraser, and this is part of my foundation and adult education course. If you've ever worked in the hospitality, you know chefs and sleep haven't always had the best relationship. Long shifts, split schedules, late nights, early mornings have almost become part of the job. So today I thought we'd talk a little bit about sleep and learning, the hidden ingredient to culinary success. Now, after reading an article, Sleep, Memory, and Plasticity by Walker and Stickgold, I started looking at sleep in a completely different way. Not as part of getting away from learning, but part of the learning process itself. One quote in the article that really stood out, sleep serves as an active role in consolidation of memory. In simple terms, learning doesn't stop when students leave the kitchen. While they're sleeping, their brain is organizing what they've learned, strengthening memories, reinforcing new skills so they are easier to use the next day. As a culinary instructor, that really made me think. Take a first-year student learning knife skills. On the first day, every cut feels awkward and takes complete concentration. The next morning, they often return looking smoother and more confident. They usually credit practice, and practice absolutely matters, but the research suggests sleep helps strengthen those new skills too. The same applies to fabricating chicken, making soups and stocks, or organizing your station for service. Students aren't just memorizing recipes, they're developing coordination and muscle memory. According to research, sleep helps reinforce all those abilities. This also made me reflect on how I teach. I've always emphasized repetition, discipline, hard work, and I still believe in those are essential. But now I also recognize that learning continues after class ends. As instructors, we should encourage students to manage their time, prepare well, and understand that staying up all night before an exam or a practical assignment may actually reduce their performance. I've seen the difference firsthand. Students who come in early morning labs, well-rested, tend to be more organized, communicate better, make fewer mistakes, and work more safely. Then students who come in exhausted often forget their mise en place, misread recipes, rush through tasks, and increase the risk of accidents. Now, this article itself is highly credible. It was published by an annual review of psychology and a respected peer-reviewed journal. Now, rather than reporting on just one experiment, Walker and Stickgold reviewed evidence from many studies on sleep, memory, and brain plasticity. I also found that later researchers, including Rasch and Born in 2013, reached many of the same conclusion. That consistency across reviews gives me confidence that the connection between sleep and learning is supported by a strong body of scientific evidence. Reading this article has also challenged one assumption I had as an instructor. Like many chefs, I grew up believing that working long hours and pushing through exhaustion was simply part of being successful in the industry. Looking back, I realized that mindset may not have always supported the best learning. Adult learners often balance school with work, family responsibilities, and financial pressures, making adequate sleep difficult. As an instructor, I can't control how much sleep my students get, but I can design learning experiences that recognize those realities. That might mean encouraging students to begin studying earlier, spacing out practice over several days instead of cramming, and helping them understand that rest is not the reward after learning, it's part of the learning process itself. So, what's the takeaway? In culinary education, we spend a lot of time talking about ingredients, technique, and repetition. Maybe it's time we spend a little bit more time talking about sleep, because whether a student is learning knife skills or studying for a food safety exam, one of the most important ingredients in the success might not be found in the kitchen at all. It might be just a good night's sleep. Well, that's this episode. I hope it gives you something to think about. And until next time, I'm Chef Jonathan Fraser. Remember, eat local, cook with purpose, and I challenge you to explore your own edible valley and maybe learn something along the way.